Good evening, I'm Andrew Chang. Adrian is away. Tonight, after a rise in cases, New Brunswick spells out tough new rules on mask wearing.
We are a very small province and getting an outbreak under control quickly is critical.
What's the reaction in the rest of the Atlantic bubble?
And here we are. Here we are.
Donald Trump is back on the campaign trail. We talk to his rally goers.
We do have a very strict code of practice and code of ethics that our member breeders must follow.
Searching for accountability, what some Canadian puppy buyers have discovered. And combating hunger in school children.
We would go into different parking lots in town and we would hand out breakfast.
Tackling a national problem made more visible by COVID-19. This is The National. It is the end of a Thanksgiving weekend when we were asked not to travel and told not to gather. For many this year, COVID-19 made it a distant, even lonely holiday. Let's get you up to speed. 975 new cases reported today, even with several provinces not giving numbers because of the long weekend. The country's hotspot, Quebec, reported 843, its lowest count since new restrictions began at the start of the month. In Manitoba, 77 new cases and 2 deaths. And worth noting, one was a man in his 40s, the youngest fatality yet in that province. But tonight's focus is New Brunswick. 6 new cases, but that means 76 total active cases, up from only 3 just over a week ago. That spike has led to a new restriction in the 2 outbreak zones, and it appears to be a first in Canada that masks must be worn in public spaces, even outdoors. Alison Northcott shows us why.
We really can't give the virus any chance. It will establish itself and spread widely, exponentially.
In the 2 regions with outbreaks, Moncton and Campbellton, some businesses are closed and there are additional rules to follow, including mandatory masks even in some outdoor public spaces.
This includes parks, playgrounds, markets, dog parks, etc., anywhere you may be sharing space with many others.
School children in the so-called orange zones have to wear masks most of the day, and extracurricular activities are suspended.
We've been privileged here in New Brunswick to have had some of our closest contacts with the disease for a long time, being fear and a bit of anxiety when we see an out-of-province license plate. But now the disease is here in our province and active.
While the province says contact tracers have tracked down close contacts, there is concern from other provinces in the Atlantic bubble, with Prince Edward Island's chief public health officer discouraging non-essential travel to the affected areas.
So this is the outside of my restaurant.
This Campbellton restaurant remains open. The owner hopes the new restrictions work.
We have to support each other. It's everywhere. We have to stop letting our guards down.
Campbellton is just across the river from Quebec and the Listigouche Mi'kmaq First Nation. More than 100 students from that community usually go to high school in Campbellton, but have been moved to online learning amid tightened border restrictions.
How do you make sure that our students still feel connected to that school when they're told to stay home and the other students are allowed to go?
That high school is closed to all students for at least a couple of days, and the province says the next 2 weeks are critical for all of New Brunswick to stop these outbreaks quickly. Alison Northcott, CBC News, Montreal.
Okay, joining me now is the New Brunswick Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Jennifer Russell. And I want to ask you about mandatory masking outdoors, because if we know that the disease isn't primarily spread there, why make masks mandatory there in these so-called orange zones?
This is an extra measure that we're taking in terms of precaution because we know that from a compliance perspective, one of our triggers to go backwards or forwards includes public health compliance with the public's compliance with public health measures. We did a survey. We found that there were many places around the province where people weren't adhering to the masking policies indoors, but we also saw a lot of people who were congregating in public settings outdoors.
Okay, additional measures, I understand. But again, if outdoors isn't the central arena, aren't you worried that people might see this as an overreach?
I hear exactly what you're saying, and obviously any public health measures that we take during an outbreak should reflect, should match the risk level. So we are very conscious and very aware that that is what we need to do in each phase, whether it's red, orange, or yellow. We are a very small province, and getting an outbreak under control quickly with the fewest number of people involved possible is critical for us to have success in not overwhelming our healthcare system. So this is why we're taking these extra measures.
One last question for you. If things continue on their current trajectory, is there any discussion about New Brunswick leaving the Atlantic bubble?
So I've been in constant contact with the Chief Medical Officers of Health in the other Atlantic provinces, and when the bubble was set up with the agreement of the premiers at the time, the understanding was that we would each continue to monitor the situation in the other provinces, and if there was something that from a risk management perspective and a risk assessment perspective that warranted any changes, that they would be done on that time based on the risks. At this point in time, we're confident that we've got our contact tracing done, the close contacts are isolating, and we have about 14 days ahead of us to monitor the situation.
Okay, we'll leave it there. Dr. Russell, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Andrew.
Now, the UK has seen a big spike in regional cases too, and today the government also responded with new restrictions. But it's not just about bringing numbers down. It's also an attempt to standardize measures. Some have called a patchwork of contradictions. Renee Filipponi explains.
For a public already weary of long months of social distancing and ever-confusing and complicated government messages, today there was more.
But this is the narrow path we have to tread between the social and economic trauma of a full lockdown and the massive human and indeed economic cost of an uncontained epidemic.
The plan unveiled is a three-tier system of restrictions: medium, high, and very high, aimed at tackling COVID-19 in communities where its growth rate is soaring. Liverpool is the first to be put in the very high alert category, which means no household mixing, and pubs, bars, gyms, and casinos will be closed for the next month at least.
If they are going to close our pubs, not going to make any difference because they're all going to have house parties. People are going to still drink.
The government is offering financial support, but some feel it's not enough.
We've gone so long with everything being closed now, it's affecting the small businesses.
Government scientists warn the situation in England's north is particularly grim.
But pretty much all areas of the UK are now seeing growths in the infection rate.
We now have more patients in hospital with COVID-19 than we did before the government announced restrictions of March the 23rd in the spring.
And that's why a number of temporary hospitals built during the first wave are being put on standby by the government.
We're entering
in a primetime press conference, the Prime Minister urged the nation to get behind him.
These figures are flashing at us like dashboard warnings in a passenger jet, and we must act now.
But Boris Johnson is facing criticism from all sides, even within his own party, that he's either doing too much or too little. The goal here is to strike the right balance and hope this new strategy makes a difference. Renee Filipponi, CBC News, London.
Well, turning to the U.S. presidential race now, and a return to active campaigning by Donald Trump 10 days after contracting COVID-19. And tonight in Florida, he came out swinging at rival Joe Biden.
Joe Biden is also owned by the radical globalists, the wealthy donors, the big money special interests, who shipped away your jobs, shut down your factories, threw open your borders.
The U.S. president attacked his usual targets, including the Democrats, the media, and China. Susan Ormiston is in Sanford, Florida tonight.
Donald Trump, confident he's a COVID super survivor, came roaring back to the campaign.
That's a lot of people.
Trailing Joe Biden in national polls, he's desperate to recast his political fortunes with just 3 weeks to go. After 10 days confined to the White House, Trump says he's no longer infectious and claims he may be immune for life, an unproven assertion according to many doctors.
Now they say I'm immune. I feel so powerful. I'll walk into that audience. I'll walk in there. I'll kiss everyone in that audience. I'll kiss the guys and the beautiful women and everybody. I'll just give you a big fat kiss.
But for supporters, Trump's recovery from COVID is one more reason to worship this president.
Fake news. Fake news.
It's not fake, but it's overinflated. Overinflated for sure.
I think that's the benefit of American medicine being unleashed and depoliticized. I mean, we would be over this by now if they would let doctors be doctors.
Mark and Casiato didn't vote last time, but it's Trump all the way in 2020.
I'm going to support him 100% in everything he's doing.
And what do you think of his recovery from COVID?
It's amazing. It's amazing. And my mother's sick right now with COVID, so She was here in 2016, so she's set to go and enjoy yourself and have fun.
Donald Trump is planning a rally each day this week to make up for lost time and try to rebuild energy, as millions of Americans have already voted. Trump's team chose Central Florida for a first rally because it's a state he has to win on any path to the White House. Florida often turns on just 1% margins and is considered razor close by both teams. Republican strategists are worried Trump's bruising debate performance and his COVID diagnosis widen the gap with Joe Biden. But they argue Trump was down at this point in 2016 before a late shift crowned him the winner. Trump's a clutch candidate, and if the polls hold, he's got a lot of political ground to make up. But this feels like a restart of the election campaign for the Republicans. He likes momentum. That's what he's after. And the difference between these rallies and Joe Biden's is quite stark. Susan Ormiston, CBC News in Sanford, Florida.
Now, Joe Biden also held a campaign rally today in Ohio, aggressively attacking Trump's priorities and handling of the pandemic.
It's estimated that if we just wore these masks nationally, we'd save over 100,000 lives between now and the end of the year. The longer Donald Trump is president, the more reckless he seems to get.
Rust Belt states like Ohio heavily supported Donald Trump last time, but polls in many now show Biden either leading or running neck and neck with Trump. Now, that political tension was also on display at the U.S. Senate, where confirmation hearings began for Donald Trump's Supreme Court pick, Amy Coney Barrett. And as Paul Hunter tells us, the hearings are only likely to deepen those divisions.
As Amy Coney Barrett walked into the Senate committee room today, fact is her confirmation to sit on the U.S. Supreme Court is effectively guaranteed.
Persuading each other.
The prediction by the Republican committee chair.
All Republicans will vote yes and all Democrats will vote no.
And with Republicans in the majority, they'll win. A staunch conservative, Democrats fear that'll mean court rulings more favorable to Republicans on issues such as abortion, gun rights, and dismantling Obamacare.
In all honesty,
in opening statements today, Democrats focused on that last one, underlining their view it puts at risk the health care of millions.
Your nomination is about the Republican goal of repealing the Affordable Care Act, the Obamacare they seem to detest so much.
But Judge Barrett, I'm not suggesting you made some secret deal with President Trump, but I believe the reason you were chosen is precisely because your judicial philosophy, as repeatedly stated, could lead to the outcomes President Trump has sought.
In highlighting Barrett as the choice of Donald Trump, it's a message also aimed directly at American voters, already casting early ballots with the election just 3 weeks away. Democrats can't derail Barrett's nomination, but they're betting they might give Americans another reason to vote against Trump.
I'm honored and humbled to appear before you today.
In her opening statement, Barrett was straightforward.
I believe Americans of all backgrounds deserve an independent Supreme Court that interprets our Constitution and laws as they are written. And I believe I can serve my country by playing that role.
Starting tomorrow, questions for Barrett from all sides on all issues, on a nomination unlikely to be derailed, but amid an election still to be decided. Paul Hunter, CBC News, Washington.
Well, it's been called a serious threat to the upcoming U.S. election. So Microsoft is taking legal action against Trickbot, one of the world's most infamous cyber criminal operations. Thomas Daigle explains the plan to disrupt the disruptors.
We've all received suspicious emails, this one offering free COVID-19 testing if only the user downloads an attachment. It's a trap designed to infect the computer with Trickbot, malicious code used for digital theft and fraud, and to turn your computer against others.
It is to steal your information, but it's also to weaponize your device, and you will have no idea that your device is being used in these types of attacks.
Microsoft noticed its code was being used by cyber criminals and got the Trickbot network shut down. The timing is no coincidence, as Americans go to the polls keen to avoid a repeat of the 2016 fiasco, when Russian hackers gained access to U.S. voter registration databases.
We've secured systems, we've exercised, we're trained, we have incident response plans in place. We're ready for just about anything.
Easier said than done, with private firms and government agencies now frequently targeted using ransomware, locking computers and displaying messages like this until victims pay a fee.
And ransomware attacks on the US public sector are happening at a rate of about 8 per month.
Last year, 3 Ontario hospitals fell victim, forcing staff to jot down patient information the cumbersome, old-fashioned way. When this hospital in Germany was hit with ransomware last month, it was forced to turn away patients, and 1 woman died, highlighting the real risk of virtual attacks, which have only increased during the pandemic.
You take one down and it seems that more just keep popping up.
Security starts by avoiding those attachments. If the email looks suspicious, just hit delete. Thomas Daigle, CBC News, Toronto.
Well, Facebook is announcing it will ban any content that denies or distorts the Holocaust, citing concerns of rising anti-Semitism. It comes 2 years after CEO Mark Zuckerberg said he didn't think Facebook should delete such things, but in a post today said his thinking had evolved. So anyone who searches Facebook for the Holocaust or its denial will soon be directed to credible information. Well, British Columbians are less than 2 weeks away from an election unlike any other. It is going to be Canada's second pandemic vote, but with a new twist, an unprecedented demand for mail-in ballots. Tina Lovegreen shows us what it's all about.
With just 12 days left to win over voters,
$1,400 to put towards rent.
Today, John Horgan used the promise of affordable housing to push for an NDP re-election. But when a winner will be known is suddenly also a question, because so many voters will cast their ballots by mail.
Already mailed it in. It will take some time to count the ballots, but that does not do anything other than confirm that British Columbians are passionate about politics.
Elections BC says almost 650,000 people have registered to vote by mail so far. That's almost 60 times more than the last BC election. Officials expect 800,000 requests for mail-in ballots by the end of this week, or up to 40% of all voters in the province.
Oh, easy. Easy it came, just did it. All the instruction was there, popped in the mail.
We're trying to keep the COVID exposure low, so this is a good way to do it.
Elections BC recommends getting your vote-in package in the mail by Saturday to make sure it arrives on time. It's not the first time BC's gone through a mail-in vote. The province has held 2 referendums in the past 10 years, one for taxes, another for transit, both without major issue.
That's a pretty substantial number.
This university lecturer expects the increase in mail-in voting will leave a mark long after the pandemic.
Even if there's no pandemic, I don't think everybody who switched this time will be like, you know what, I want to go back to the ballot box next time. I think there'll be a lot of people will just want to stick with it or even do something more convenient.
Sure, mailing it in doesn't bring with it the same excitement.
Yeah, I guess I'll kind of miss, I don't know, the adrenaline rush, the energy there, but that's okay. I'm still for mail-in voting.
Because at the end of the day, getting your vote in is what really matters. Tina Lovegreen, CBC News, Vancouver.
Well, the Canada Recovery Benefit opened for applications today. There were some glitches. Several people reported not being able to log in to the site this morning, but it has since gotten up and running. This new program replaces the CERB, and it pays $500 a week for up to 6 months for those who don't qualify for EI and who are missing work because of COVID. Well, depending on where you live, you may be able to dine inside restaurants, but should you?
This idea of physical distancing indoors, it's fiction.
Next on The National, we look at the risks of indoor dining. Also, the doctors are in to talk Thanksgiving fallout. 50 years after the October crisis, the kidnapping and killing of a Canadian politician, an exclusive interview with his son.
Why do you say that? Why do you think your father was sacrificed?
And Canadian puppy buyers speak out in search of accountability.
Every night we went to bed thinking maybe he won't make it.
A CBC News investigation. We're back in 2. Welcome back. With the long weekend on top of turkey, many of us have COVID on the mind. Specifically, what effect family gatherings may have on community spread. So here to take some of our questions, two infectious diseases specialists, Dr. Susie Hota and Dr. Isaac Bogosh. Hello to the two of you, and happy long weekend to you. So, Dr. Hota, let me start with you. It being Thanksgiving Monday, so depending on how Canadians celebrated and with whom, can you tell me what is the range of potential outcomes we're looking at here when it comes to COVID spread?
Right. So I think the first thing to be aware of is that anything that comes out of this weekend won't be apparent for another week or two, probably after the weekend's over. And that's because of the incubation period of the virus. So best case scenario, people would have heeded the advice of public health and limited their contacts, and we would see things come down. Worst case scenario, we continue on exponential rise, as we had been seeing just prior to the long weekend starting.
And we're all familiar with that old adage, you hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. So if we assume the worst, how should we all change our behaviors, if at all, over the next coming days or even the coming week and a half?
Well, I think, you don't really know how people dealt with this weekend around you. So it really does come back down to that advice of limiting the number of close contacts that you have in the upcoming weeks. That is what we need to do because we're seeing such a rise in COVID cases across the country, but especially in those hot spots. So being aware of that and also looking out for if you develop symptoms that could be COVID-19, immediately self-isolating, get tested. If you hear that somebody that you spent the weekend with and had, say, a Thanksgiving dinner or a gathering with has come down with COVID-19, then again, self-isolating and getting yourself tested. These are important things. What we don't want to see happening is everybody going out and getting tested now because they regret decisions they may have made on the long weekend.
Right, okay, so that's good advice not to overwhelm the system. Dr. Bogosh, while we're talking about a spread of the disease, can you help explain, I feel like there have been competing studies over the last little while, and most recently we heard new information about how long this virus can stay on surfaces, and yet for a long time it seems like we've been told, okay, maybe the threat of the virus staying on surfaces is not as high as we thought it was. What's this all about?
Yeah, so certainly I think our understanding of how this virus is transmitted has changed a lot since March and April of this year. And fomite transmission, which means you touch an inanimate object, then you can touch your eyes, nose, or mouth and potentially infect yourself. The role of fomites in transmission is probably a lot less important than what was initially thought. Of course, we still have to adhere to strict hand hygiene. We still have to wipe off eye contact surfaces. It's just not a very likely mode of transmitting this infection. There was a study that came out recently that looked at viable virus on different surfaces, and it showed that the virus was viable for about 4 weeks. And I think we have to remember that a study like this, while it's interesting, was done under ideal lab conditions, and it's probably not that applicable to real-world settings.
Okay, now one last question I want to give you each a chance to answer. Just the thing that you're most watching out for in the weeks ahead as far as COVID goes.
I think the numbers obviously is going to be a big one, and how does the system cope with what happens this time around? But I'm also thinking this is a bit of a trial run before Christmas. So how well did we message things? How well have we gotten out to the public to tell them that close contacts really need to be limited?
And Dr. Bogosh?
I'm with Susie on this one. I'm also looking at hospitalizations and just looking at how our acute care system is coping with a growing number of cases.
Dr. Hota, Dr. Bogosh, lots to watch for. Thank you so much.
Take care.
Thank you.
Now, outside certain hotspots in Ontario and Quebec, indoor dining is still allowed in Canada, but that doesn't mean it's not without risk. Research shows a meal should be served with a side of good ventilation. Christine Birak explains.
When we gather indoors, several layers of protection against this virus disappear, especially when we eat.
The thing about eating that's different is that you can mask for everything else, but when you have to eat, ultimately that mask has to come off.
And what you don't see floating around in the air could make you sick. So we asked an indoor air quality expert to show us.
You can't see the respiratory droplets that I'm making right now, but sure enough, I'm making them, and they're going everywhere in this space.
This device is picking them up.
When I see that surging, what is that indicating?
The diffuser mimics someone breathing. We're now seeing a cloud of up to 20,000 tiny particles.
and it can go for meters and meters and meters. So I often say that this idea of physical distancing indoors, it's fiction.
This study out of Hong Kong examined an outbreak at a windowless restaurant in China. 10 people from 3 different families were infected. Researchers concluded droplets of the virus were being pushed through the air by an air conditioning unit and infecting diners along the way.
You could upgrade the filter to remove particles and droplets that might contain the virus from the air, but really the best thing to do is just to bring in more outdoor air.
Many restaurant owners are trying to do just that, but feel it's a losing battle.
For us, the biggest confusion is not knowing what the right thing to do is. You know, we open our front doors, we have the hoods going, we have air circulation, and we're spraying and we're cleaning and we're wearing our masks and washing our hands.
The virus doesn't spread through food, but doctors say gathering with others to eat carries another risk. Touching all those table settings, picking up the virus, and inadvertently touching your face.
So it really is important to think about risk in a few different ways.
For many, gathering for a meal is a balancing act that is changing with the seasons. Christine Burak, CBC News, Toronto.
Well, coming up next, a warning for anyone looking to buy a new puppy.
As soon as she arrived, I knew that things were not right.
Dog owners share their horror stories and demand accountability in a CBC News investigation. With so many Canadians looking to add a dog to their COVID bubble, brokers are capitalizing, selling puppies born overseas to meet demand. Now, last night, we brought you a story on the dark side of this import business, one that is saddling buyers with sick dogs and enormous vet bills. Tonight, we continue that investigation to reveal more of what the National has discovered, that these questionable sellers are being given a boost of legitimacy by the very organization you'd expect to be cracking down. David Common has that story.
Stella is back at the vet again, 18 months old, and she's had a lot of problems. This time, owner Beverly Guinness is picking her up from a surgery on her knee. The puppy, a gift from Beverly's son.
$1,500 for a French bulldog, but you make up that cost with vet bills afterwards because of where they've come from.
You're a good guy. Stella is imported from Eastern Europe, among thousands of dogs brought in to be sold, often online. It's a lucrative trade worth millions. But veterinary experts warn many come from puppy mills and say that can bring an array of health conditions.
As soon as she arrived, I knew that things were not right. And then you spend the next $3,000 on vet bills. She had giardia, possible other parasites, virus, struggle to keep anything down.
And this is all within 48 hours?
This is within 48 hours, yeah. But being such a small puppy, it's difficult to get fluids into them.
You can die. The seller, Anastasia Kibzoun, says Beverly denied any responsibility. Beverly says buyers need to be scrupulous.
I would never ever buy a puppy unless it was from a certified registered breeder.
So where to go to find a registered breeder? Well, many check out the website of the Canadian Kennel Club, a resource for puppy buyers. And look whose name is here. It's the woman who sold Stella to the Guinness family. All right. She's not the only name others find suspicious.
I have printed off the breeders from the official breed clubs in Canada.
Brenda Como-Watson founded the French Bulldog Club of Central Canada and is a longtime member of the Canadian Kennel Club.
That's the puppy list.
She's stunned by what she sees as infiltration of the CKC breeder lists by sellers who may import puppies or are not known to her to follow the club's rules on breeding.
We're finding that a lot of the breeders, probably close to 76% of the breeders, are commercial breeders, breeding against the standard for the breed.
You're saying that 3/4 of those French Bulldog breeders aren't what you would consider a legitimate breeder?
Exactly. Exactly.
What does that say?
It tells me that people pay for the privilege of being included on that list, that CKC is not checking the puppy list before they include people on it.
Hello?
Oh, yes, I got you.
We called the number on Anastasia's business card, and we're told at least some of their dogs are imported.
Well, we don't breed Frenchies. We breed American Akitas and Samoyeds.
Oh, okay.
We do import them from Poland.
From Poland, okay.
I know.
You wouldn't know it now, but this little guy was another very sick import from Anastasia, on death's door just hours after his new owner picked him up, immediately costing thousands in vet bills.
And then he stayed at the vets for that 2 to 3 week period before we went to get him.
Titan's owner arranged to have him taken in by Maureen Woods, who runs a Chihuahua rescue organization.
He actually was down to 0.9 of a pound at one point because we couldn't get him to eat or drink. Just every night we went to bed thinking maybe he won't make it. We'll do our best.
We spoke to Titan's original owner, distraught about her decision to buy Titan from Anastasia. She relied on the Kennel Club's list and believes it should validate her purchase. Maureen thinks if the country's preeminent dog organization cannot vet its puppy list, then the list shouldn't exist.
The public perceives them to be a registering, monitoring board. If you have a CKC registration, if you're a qualified breeder, to me, that puts you in a higher esteem than someone who's not. Higher standard.
Good morning.
Hi, Richard. How are you? Richard Paquette is a breeder himself and a CKC board member.
The general public will have a degree of confidence when dealing with a CKC member breeder because we do have a very strict code of practice and code of ethics that our member breeders must follow.
It's come to our attention that a number of those on the puppy list are actually importing puppies. Does that surprise you?
No, it doesn't surprise me, and it is a problem, and we have had several removed from our list.
Paquette says the list is a resource, but ultimately puts onus on the buyer, who can register complaints. The club's response to Titus's owner when recounting her horror story with their member breeder was even more definitive, writing a common misconception is that breeders are in some way licensed or registered by the CKC. This is not the case, and it's not against the code of practice for CKC members to act as a broker of dogs.
What do you say to them, those people who are left with a sick dog after having gone to the puppy list?
I find that very unfortunate, and our hearts go out to them because nothing worse than having a sick puppy. And I know that, for the most part, they can have a degree of assurance that the majority of the members on the Canadian Kennel Club puppy list are reputable, passionate about what they do.
There he goes.
While Titan is now placed in a new home, the woman who sold him says she's no longer affiliated with the business that sold many of these puppies. But she does continue to sell puppies like Titan, and her name remains on the CKC list of registered puppy breeders. David Common, CBC News, Toronto.
Now, if you missed the first part of David's investigation, you can find it on the National's YouTube channel, and David will have more on all of this in the weeks to come on Marketplace. Well, next, an exclusive interview with a man who lived the October crisis like few others.
That's when I learned that my father was kidnapped on October the 10th.
50 years later, a rare conversation with Pierre Laporte's son and his message to Canadians.
The War Measures Act gives sweeping powers to the government. It also suspends the operation of the Canadian Bill of Rights.
50 years ago, Canada was plunged into the October crisis. A radical group of Quebec nationalists had raised the stakes on separatism to a new level of violence. The federal government's response was the War Measures Act, suspending civil liberties and putting soldiers in the streets. But as events played out on the political level, they were also being felt on a very personal one. The kidnapping and murder of Pierre Laporte still marks his family. And tonight, in an exclusive interview, his son speaks with Rosie Barton about those days and his father's legacy.
It was a day of rapid developments here in Montreal.
20 minutes before the last deadline for fulfillment of ransom demands.
It was unlike anything Quebec or the rest of Canada had ever seen. A series of violent events, bombings, robberies, and kidnappings. Led by the Front de Libération du Québec, a group that started by calling for an independent socialist Quebec state and ended as terrorists. First, kidnapping the British Trade Commissioner James Cross in early October of 1970. 5 days later, the Quebec Minister of Labour, Pierre Laporte, grabbed while playing football on his front lawn. Laporte's 11-year-old son Jean was at a friend's house. Now a 61-year-old man who has lived this crisis like few others, and still today. Laporte found out something was wrong when he turned on the TV.
So basically they asked me to shut down the TV, but that's how I learned that something has happened at the family. And I'll say probably half an hour later, my sister came to pick me up with a policeman, and they brought me home. And that's when I learned that my father was kidnapped on October the 10th.
His family's life changed quickly and forever. As the FLQ made demands of the government seeking the release of so-called political prisoners. There were calls for the War Measures Act to be invoked, suspending civil rights and allowing arrests and detentions without charges.
The powers include the right to search and arrest without warrant, to detain suspected persons without the necessity of laying specific charges immediately, and to detain persons without bail. These are strong powers, and I find them as distasteful as I am sure you do.
Hundreds of people were rounded up and held in just the first day. The very next day, October 17th, the FLQ directed police to a car in a parking lot. There again, Jean Laporte, the 11-year-old, watched it unfold on TV.
So I was sleeping. On the 18th in the morning, I opened the TV, saw the car, and saw in the trunk the body of my father. And that's how I learned again through TV that my father was dead, that he was killed the day before. My only conclusion, and it's a simple one, is when you're 11 years old and your father is kidnapped and then murdered, is you miss the person.
These are not events Laporte likes to think about. He speaks very rarely about any of it. In a period of 10 days, his father was kidnapped, killed, and buried. But he does have his own conclusions about what happened and why.
And the October crisis, James Cross event, and the kidnapping and murdering of Pierre Laporte changed that through the War Measure Act, and with what government have decided to do. I do believe that they made the conscious decision to sacrifice Pierre Laporte in order to put order in the province of Quebec and giving themselves more opportunities to realign what the future should be in our province.
Why do you say that? Why do you think your father was sacrificed?
Because when you're in politics or when you're in power, you have to make decisions and you have to look at your options.
This year, there are calls for official apologies from the federal government for those detained at the time, an idea the current Prime Minister does not seem keen on entertaining.
There's no question that the events of October 1970 had a difficult impact on many Quebecers. But I think we need to first and foremost remember that this difficult anniversary is going to be particularly painful for the families of Pierre Laporte.
For Jean Laporte, an official apology from the government is not his first priority. This anniversary is about calling on Canadians to remember his father as someone more than a man killed in a moment of violence and national crisis. Pierre Laporte was a journalist for many years, exposing the mistakes of the Duplessis government, a dedicated politician, a great defender of the French language for francophones inside and outside Quebec.
It's important for me to bring Pierre Laporte's career and the fact that I guess a journalist and politician I had a fantastic career, and that Pierre Laporte is not only a school or a bridge, it's a lot more than that for many Quebecers and Canadians. So thank you.
Laporte doesn't carry anger with him about the murder of his father, but he does recognize the impact on him and his family. The loss of a man which 5 decades later is still so deeply felt. Rosemary Barton, CBC News, Ottawa.
And for more on the story of the FLQ, check out the CBC podcast Recall: How to Start a Revolution. It explores how a spirit of liberation became a nightmare of bombs, kidnapping, and murder. Okay, when we come back, fighting hunger in the classroom.
School food is actually an essential service, and I might not have said that a year ago.
Another inequality laid bare by COVID-19.
I'm Jamie Poisson, and tomorrow on CBC's Daily News podcast Front Burner, as parts of Canada go back into lockdown, could new rapid tests and experimental treatments be a game changer? Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome back. Millions of Canadian children rely on breakfast and lunch services at school. The pandemic, however, has made delivering those nutritious meals even more difficult than ever. In fact, one study reports the number of children going to school hungry has now doubled. Deanna Sumanak-Johnson looks at 2 initiatives trying to change that.
In this Toronto Catholic school, every kid gets a healthy snack, whether their family requested it or not.
We don't have to worry about packing our snacks. And it also reminds us of eating healthy.
If they're not fed and they're hungry, they're not going to be learning.
Boys and girls, if you need help opening, stay at your seat, okay?
But it's something that doesn't happen everywhere, as Canada doesn't have a universal school food program.
COVID has shown us that school food is actually an essential service, and I might not have said that a year ago.
According to the Breakfast Club of Canada, due to COVID-19, the number of children going to class on an empty stomach has increased from over 1 million to now over 2 million. The problem became particularly obvious in the spring when schools shutting down cut kids off from their access to meals.
I was starting to really worry about the kids.
In Iqaluit, when schools shut down, Jason Rochon and a group of volunteers took bagged breakfasts to the families instead.
We used the warehouse, but we would go into different parking lots in town and we would hand out breakfast.
That's one way of pandemic-proofing meals if schools have to shut down again, but there are others. Some jurisdictions jump to the conclusion that serving meals in schools is no longer safe, says this researcher.
We can use all that we know about COVID-compliant restaurant guidelines to ensure that every meal served in a school is safe. Safe handling, washing hands, wearing masks.
And that's what Letitia Jolampong is doing in this school. Sure, some things have changed.
Before, we cut those fruits and vegetables, and now we just do the individual wrap and you put in the bag.
But some stay the same.
I feel very happy because they're enjoying the food.
You did it all by yourself. Fighting hard against yet another inequality the pandemic has brought to the surface.
There you go. What do you say? Say thank you.
Deanna Sumanak-Johnson, CBC News, Toronto.
Okay, next on The National, talk about a great wake-up call.
Paul, wake up. You've won the Nobel Prize.
Not a bad way to get out of bed. The moment is right after the break.
The Sveriges Riksbank Prize in Economic Sciences in memory of Alfred Nobel, jointly to Paul R. Milgram and Robert B. Wilson.
Well, 2 Americans won the Nobel Prize in Economics today, giving them permission perhaps to celebrate Thanksgiving a month early. For Paul Milgram, that news, though, was not a phone call, but rather a knock away. How he found out about his prize is our moment.
Celebrating Nobel Prize. I was asleep, and my phone is set not to take calls from unknown numbers. So they never got through to me. But there came to be a knock at my door. My co-winner, Bob Wilson, who also lives across the street, came over and was knocking at my door and saying, Paul, wake up. You've won the Nobel Prize. So that's how I found out. It was a knock at my door. The phone wasn't ringing at all. A bunch of my close friends have won prizes before, and it's, it's an honor to be among them.
Yeah, I suppose so. I'm not going to be able to do their work justice in the 20 seconds or so that we have left. Suffice to say, it has to do with auction theory and building a better auction, which maybe doesn't sound so Nobel-worthy when you think about auctions in terms of cars or art, but when you think about radio frequencies or fishing quotas, other things that are auctioned off, it gets pretty complicated. That's The National for this October 12th. Have a good night.